الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وإمام المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما تنفعنا به يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا نسألك بأنك أنت أرحم الراحمين وأكرم الأكرمين. اللهم إنا نسألك في هذه الليلة المباركة أن تفتح علينا أبواب خيرك وفضلك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك يا الله علما نافعا ورزقا طيبا وعملا متقبلا. So please, brothers, at the beginning of this, please come forward. Those who are sitting in the back, please come forward. Unless if you are sitting on the chair, that's fine. But other than that, please come forward and let's get closer to each other. And if you are here and with your father, please separate between you and your father. You are the only one who has your father here? Okay. Hi, sir. Omar, please get in the first row. Get closer. Get closer. That's good. So in this case, we are closer to each other. Number one. Number two, when people come, just sit on the back. They don't interrupt us and get in between. Jazakumullah khair. That is better. Brother Dawood, please come here. Yes. That's good. It is good. So, inshallah ta'ala, the course of today, it will be part of the knowledge that every Muslim should know. And it is fard ayn. It is fard ayn. You remember, brothers, that obligations in Sharia are of two categories. There is fard ayn and fard kifaya. Fard ayn that every individual, Muslim individual, must know. And there is some ilm, some knowledge that is not individually obligation. It is a knowledge that is obligation upon the Muslim community. If some Muslims learned this knowledge, then the rest of the community are okay with it. For example, how to wash the deceased. Not every Muslim must know how to wash the deceased. If some of us know how to take care of the deceased, wash, kafan, shrouding, and funeral process, alhamdulillah, the rest of the community are okay, they are safe. But if no one in the community knows, then all of us are sinful. This is what we call it communal obligation. Medicine, it is communal obligation. If no one of us knows how to treat patients and how to fight the diseases and illnesses, then all of us are sinful. So we must have among us some people who are experts in this. What I want to say is knowledge are of two categories: communal obligation and individual obligation. What we'll be learning today is what? Individually obligation, that every Muslim must know. Why? Because this knowledge is related to our fundamentals, ibadat. You know, this knowledge is related to your salat, is related to your fasting, is related to the hajj, is related to the purification, which is half of the sharia, half of the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is about purification. So it is very important, this knowledge. Yet, this knowledge, as much as it is essential and important, it is very sensitive topics. And what we'll be discussing today is very, very embarrassing discussion to have with your children, with your people that you respect, but we have to learn it. We have to learn it, and we have to learn a principle in the beginning of this course, that لا حياء في تعلم الدين. Shyness and modesty is of the qualities of Islam, except in learning. It should not prevent shyness and modesty and haya and bashfulness should not prevent us from learning our deen. And in today's class, we have to overcome this bashfulness and shyness, and we have to learn. We will be very frank, we will be very open, discussing certain matters that maybe you never heard it in the masajid. Usually in the internet and in disrespectful gatherings, you may hear these topics, but in masjid, in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you'll be surprised how frank and open we will be discussing these matters today. So what I'm expecting from everybody here, young and adults, is alhamdulillah, nobody here is under 15 years old, right? Nobody here is under 15? Abu Hamza, give me your ID. What is your birthday? So, this is the first requirement. The second thing is, if you don't understand anything, if you have question, if you don't have the courage to ask, you can pick up a letter. Isam, can you spread? You have, please go around and give everybody a pencil and a piece of paper. If you have a question and you cannot ask, that's fine. You can send it to me in writing. I will answer it, because I know it is very sensitive topic, and if you feel you can ask, it's open. Here there is no judgment environment. Just we are learning. Everybody is learning. But if you don't want to speak, you can write it. Okay? You can write it. So again, I don't want you to be deprived from benefiting from this class. It is very sensitive topics again, but doesn't mean we should not learn it. We have to learn it. And unfortunately, because these are sensitive topics, parents don't discuss these issues with their kids, mothers don't discuss these issues with their girls, fathers don't discuss these issues with their boys, and in public schools, when they discuss these issues, they don't discuss them from Islamic perspective. Maybe they discuss them from biological perspective. Sometimes they discuss them from Western perspective, but not necessarily from our Islamic perspective. So what happens eventually, that our kids grow up having very, very little perspective in these issues and feel shy to reach out to an imam or a parent or a friend or a mentor and ask these questions. So this is why today we'd like to be as frank as we can. We learn as adults and young adults, youth here, as well as if there is any ambiguity, we are here inshallah ta'ala to clarify it. Okay, so I will lay out the course of today. There are 6 major topics we'll be discussing today inshallah ta'ala. 6 major topics. The first one is what we call them Sunanul Fitra, the natural grooming practices. And shortly you will know what we mean by natural grooming practices. But this will be the first topic. The second topic is what we call them Miyahur Rajul, male fluids discharges. And this will be the primary topic, because this is very, very long, related to Tahara, related to Salat, related to Sawm, related to puberty, and so on and so forth. The third topic is what we call it Al-Ihtilam, wet dreams. We'll be talking about it inshallah. The fourth topic will be inshallah will be signs of puberty or signs of adulthood. You know, in some cultures, what differentiates between young and adults is the age, 18 years old. In Islam, no. What differentiates between adult and young is something else. What is it? This is what we'll be learning. In which age you will be Islamically responsible to fulfill the obligations and to stay away from the prohibitions. We call this the age of puberty. By which or what are the signs of puberty? Some people are familiar with 1 or 2 signs, but in reality there are many signs of puberty. And if you meet any one of these signs, you are mature, you are adult now, and you have reached the age of puberty. So this is the fourth topic of today, inshallah. The fifth topic of today will be some sensitive discussion about intimacy, halal and haram of intimacy. Halal and haram of intimacy. It will be a little bit something that we have to be patient and we have to learn it anyway. And lastly, inshallah ta'ala, we will be talking about etiquettes of using bathroom. Etiquettes of using bathroom, inshallah ta'ala. These are how many? 6 topics, 6 major topics. Let's start, inshallah ta'ala, with the first one. And please take notes. You know, I am not very good with PowerPoint and digital things. I am old school. I give you information and I expect you to take what? Notes. Especially the youth. You will be examined. You know that, right? So please take notes, inshallah ta'ala. For everybody, as a matter of fact. So let's start with the first topic, which is not that tough, not difficult, and it will be inshallah short and easy. The first topic will be what we call it Sunanul Fitra. Sunanul Fitra is the natural grooming practices. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam taught us 6 practices that he said sallallahu alayhi wasallam, every human being, as a matter of fact, not only Muslim, should maintain these practices. The first one is, I will go over some that they don't need that much explanation. The first one, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, taqlimul adafir, cutting the nails. And the second one is shaving pubic hair. The third one is natful ibit, plucking armpit hair. And the fourth one is growing the beard. And the fifth one is trimming or shaving the what? Mustache. And the sixth one is al-khitan, circumcision. So I will start inshallah ta'ala with the first one, cutting the nails. This is for men and women, by the way. This is for men and women. And the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam put limitation, time frame, between 15 days and 40 days. Between 15 days and 40 days. So he instructed us, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, to cut the nails as much as we need. When we see the nails growing more than what it should be, we should cut them. And then he put some time frame, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The max is what? 40 days. You cannot exceed 40 days. And it's good to be every other week, which is 15 days, as Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to do. So 15 days is the norm, is the best practice, and the max is 40 days. But this is very say it again? Yeah, subjective to the person, because if your nails grow fast, then you don't have to wait 2 weeks. I would do them every week because they grow fast. But so you know yourself better. But Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam put certain guidelines. The max is 40 days. And there is some belief, I would call it superstitions about how to cut the nails and the time you cut the nails and how to get rid of the nails. All these are nonsense. Some people, they said you cannot cut the nails at night. Some people said if you cut the nails you have to bury them under the ground, put soil on them. So this is nonsense. And I'm sure in every culture they have some of these asatir, but none of these has any base in our religion, in our Sharia. This is, after you cut them, it is a garbage. It is what? Garbage. Throw them wherever you want. In some occasions, and I don't want you to take this too far, in some occasions, some evil people, magicians particularly, use nails to do sihr, to do magic. They use any part of the body of the person. They use your hair, your nail, your any part of the body. But this is not, so don't be too much concerned about these issues. This happens in some cultures with some evil people, but alhamdulillah, you can throw them within your bag garbage. So don't be too much. So this is about the first practice, cutting the nails. The second one is shaving pubic hair. And I will be talking here, will have to be a little bit frank, brothers and sisters. I know when I was growing up, among teenagers particularly, don't know that this something should be done. Most of our teenagers who have reached the age of puberty and they are, alhamdulillah, adults, shar'an, Islamically are responsible, but they don't know that they should. As a matter of fact, in some cases, they must shave this part of the body. So this is why we need education and we need this type of classes and courses. So, and the same time frame Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, gave, between 15 days and 40 days. It should be as frequent as 15 days, every other week you shave. And the worst case scenario is what? 40 days. You cannot exceed 40 days, you must shave. And some people might ask the question why it is important to shave this part of the body. It could be very obvious, right? Why? What do you think? Health? Huh? Hygiene? Exactly. So part of the cleanliness. Okay, our Sharia, our deen is about cleanliness. And this is why we call these practices natural practices, natural grooming practices. Because our Sharia is not just about salat and sawn. It teaches us everything, all aspects of life. And there is a potential accumulation of najasat, impurities in this part if you don't shave. Because you are using bathroom, you are urinating, you are using the other part of the bathroom. So you have to shave. You have to shave so it will be clean. We have two questions here we need to answer. Can we use permanent removal, hair removal in this part of the body? Which means once for all. Can we do that? Can we use this? Yes or no? Why? Why no? Okay. Who has different answer? Can we use permanent hair removal in this part of the body? Yes. The goal is achieved with one condition. Yes? Which is? That's a good point. This is a discussion which is more abroad. Is removing the hair in any part of the body changing the khalq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? In the Quran, I will give you very, very helpful rule. If you memorize it or write it down, it will be very helpful. This is the question. Is removing any bodily hair considered changing the khalq of Allah? Because Shaitan challenged Allah in the Quran, I will make your servants changing your creation. Changing your creation. Some people think by removing the hair, you are changing the khalq of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When it comes to the hair in the body, are three categories. There is types of hair that Allah and His Messenger instructed us to remove. And there is a type of hair that Allah and His Messenger instructed us to leave and to grow. Like what? Beard. And there is a third category, which is Allah and His Messenger kept silent. Neither instructed us to remove it, nor instructed us to leave it and maintain it and grow it and take care of it. So the first one that Allah and His Messenger instructed us to remove should be removed. Even if we remove permanent removal, then once and for all, this type of hair. Okay? So it is allowed, men and women, they can use it with one condition, medically it is not harmful. If you go to a doctor and they said there is no harm, there is no consequences on your health, then there is no issue Islamically to use these products to remove. Yes. Exactly. So if it is in sensitive area and doctor said there is a risk for, God forbid, skin cancer of this, the skin or this or that, then of course you have to be in the cautious side and the safe side. But if it is safe and by experience it is safe, then there is nothing. So in this issue, removing permanent removal, we go back to the expert, the doctors, medicine. What medicine says it is healthy, safe, it can be used. When medicine said it is risky and harmful, then it should be avoided. Which is what is the operative of the sunnah? The sunnah is to be removed, not to remove it every 15 weeks, because that time some people can argue they had no permanent removal. So we don't have a case that the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had the access to permanent removal and he avoid them. In this case, you may argue that no, we should avoid that because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not do that. But the fact of the matter is, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not have the access to such product that permanently will remove the hair, and he avoided them. This is why I say it's mubah, it's permissible. If you'd like to use this product, that is okay. If you'd like to shave every 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, that is okay as well. What is important to consider is if medicine safe medically or not safe. Let me just complete the picture. What I said is the hair in the body of 3 categories. What Allah and His Messenger instructed us to remove, and it should be removed. And this is what we'll be talking about today, what should be removed. And what Allah and His Messenger instructed us to keep and maintain, it should be kept and maintained. And the third category, which Allah and His Messenger kept silent. For example, if you have hair in your forehead, if you have hair in your feet, legs, can you remove them or keep them? It's a long discussion. It's a long discussion. But this type of hair where Allah and His Messenger kept silent, it depends on the maslahah. If, for example, if women has a hair here, it's very ugly. Okay? So, of course, the maslahah for the women, they remove the hair in the forehead, in the legs, and even if we have no report whatsoever. For the man, it depends what is considered manhood. If manhood is to keep these things, then you should keep them. Don't go too close to the other gender practices. Okay? So this is basically a rule that you should maybe remember. Now to answer in a short way, the answer, can we use permanent removal in these parts of the body? The answer is yes, with the condition that we stated, if it is safe. So this is pubic hair, it should be shaved. Also, what is considered part of this hair as well is the hair that is around the anus. That is also to be removed for the same reason. If you don't remove it, najasat will accumulate around this area, and this is against our practices as Muslims. It should be removed. Can you seek help from somebody to remove this here? The answer is no, unless if it is your spouse. Unless if it is your spouse. So you have to learn that. Alhamdulillah, today, in our time and age, we have many tools how to do that. Alhamdulillah. Yes. No, as long as it is safe. As long as it is safe and it is not harmful. Yes. No, that's different. That's a tough too. Maybe we can talk about it later on, but it's different. Removing the hair that Sharia instructed us to remove, even if you use permanent removal, it is halal. It is halal. Yes, Arsala. this is what I'm saying. Even laser, you can purchase some machines and you can do the laser at home. Now, can you go to these places and do the laser by somebody else? Here is problematic. Now we ask the question, can somebody see your awra, your private part, even if it is from the same gender? Can a man see the awra of a man? Can a woman see the awra of a woman? The answer is no, unless there is a need, legitimate need or a necessity. Now, let's discuss this. Is this a legitimate need or a necessity? How to answer this question is, can it be done without this? If we can do it without this, then it is not a legitimate need nor necessity. If the answer is no, it cannot be done by yourself, then al-ulama discuss. But let me give you a summary. For man, you should not seek these places, period. You can do this at home. Alhamdulillah, man, they should not be so much obsessed by these matters, okay? Because part of the manhood is to maintain some hair in your body, to maintain, this is what manhood is. But for women, ulama differed. I didn't want to go this detail because there is no woman here. It was given in last class. For women, ulama differed if they are allowed to go to these laser places to remove a pubic hair by somebody else. The ulama differed. Some ulama saw this not a legitimate need and it should not be done. And some ulama said this is sensitive places. If you don't do it the right way, it might be harmful. It should be by expert and this and that. And women appearing in the nice, beautiful way to their spouses is something Sharia is calling for. Then they gave permission for women to go to these places. But for once and once for all, you don't keep going, because this is, as we said, al-hajatu tuqaddaru biqadriha. Let's move on, inshallah ta'ala. The next is natful ibit, plucking armpit hair. And you look, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used plucking. He didn't use shaving. The question is, do we have to pluck this hair or can we shave it? You can shave it, you can pluck it, whatever you want. You can use the machine, what they call it? Trimmer. You can use whatever you want. So pluck, this was the practice in the Arabia. They don't shave this area, they pluck it, but you don't have to. You don't have to. You can shave it, you can use whatever you want. Also, you can use permanent removal. Yes. Can you do what? Oh, yes, you can do that. The preferred is to pluck. This is what the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to do. But the ulama discussed, is the tool really matter, or what matters is for the hair to be removed? Most ulama said the tool does not matter. What matters, what is the objective of Sharia at the end of the day, is for this hair to be removed for cleansing purposes. Okay? For cleansing purposes. And for the same period of time. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, between 15 days, he used to do it every 15 days, and the max is what? 40 days. Guys, you better not to keep it 40 days. It is so ugly. Okay? 40 days is too much. 40 days is too much. But we are talking, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is giving these instructions not necessarily in young brothers and sisters in US. He's giving this to humanity. People don't necessarily have the access to these tools and means that often like we do in our time and age. And this instruction was given 1400 years ago. People where they don't have these fancy bathrooms with mirror, with all the tools and shaving materials. These people used to take shower in the desert. Okay? So you have to look at this whole picture. Even though Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam instructed them to take it that often, to remove it that often. So if we are talking to people like you, I will say you have to do this between 1 and every 2 weeks. Every week, when you take shower on Friday or Saturday, or every other week, you take care of this matters, inshallah ta'ala. So we said, تقليم الأظافر, cutting the nails, pubic hair, and plucking the armpit hair. The fourth practice, yes, Brother Zahid. No, yes, by hand. Used to pluck. It's tough. Yes, it's tough. I tried it once, I never did it again. Yeah, it's painful. I tried, Allahu Alam, maybe Abu Hamza, you can do some research. I tried to find if there is a hikmah, if there is maybe medical benefit why Nabi Sallallahu used to pluck it. I did not find anything. But maybe you can guys do some research. I'm sure Nabi Sallallahu did not do this haphazardly. Shaving in the other parts. So there must be a reason why he did not shave in this part. Because he had the access to shave like other parts. Not proper. There is some explanation. I found it. Bacteria, yes. That's true. And there is another reason where if you pluck, it doesn't grow that fast. It takes very long time to grow. So he used to pluck there because then it takes longer time. As a matter of fact, when you shave, you provoke the skin and it will grow much faster. But you cannot pluck in the other parts. You know that, right? Because you will be screaming and the neighbors will come for a skew. Yeah. 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 In any case, there must be a reason, but let's take it easy, inshallah. Yes, Umar. No, shaving is not with scissors. It's like not with scissors, with Musa. What is Musa? Razor? What is razor? It's a shaving, the same. That was accessible even 1400 years ago. It's a shave. Yeah. Because what is the definition of shaving? It's to remove the hair from its root. This is what shaving is. With the scissor, you are not removing the hair from its root. You are trimming, which is coming next. Yes. Scissors, probably scissors, yes. So let's move a little bit on. So we have a lot of materials to cover, okay? So next is al-lihya. Al-lihya, to be left, not to be shaved. Not al-lihya not is to be kept, to be maintained, to grow it. And this is of the practices of Rasulullah ﷺ and the practices of all messengers and religions. Now, the question that arises now, is it mandatory to grow lihya, the beard, or it is just sunnah? It is a long discussion. Most of the ulama, most of the madhahib, that growing the beard for man is mandatory. Now, the length of it is flexible. The ulama have different. You should keep it big, or you can make it small as mine. So most of the ulama said, as long as you have a beard, you did the sunnah. Of course, the best practice is to have it as Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, but this is sunnah. It is recommended. What it matters is you don't shave it. You don't shave it. So shaving the lihya completely, shaving, okay? This is, according to most madhahib, is haram. Haram. Sin, which means a sin. So which means you need to keep at least a little bit of the lihya. And Aisha radiallahu anha used to say, وَالَّذِي جَمَّلَ الرِّجَالَ بِاللِّحْيَةِ. She used to swear by the one who beautifies man by the beard. So it is part of the beauty of the man to have lihya, to have the beard. Now it doesn't have to be that long. You can trim it, but you cannot shave it. The fifth practice is trimming the mustache or shaving. The ulama differed. Should we shave it or should we trim it? Most of the ulama that we should what? Trim it, not shave it. But if you choose to shave it, that's fine. But don't keep it too long for the same reason. What is the reason? you eat food, and bacteria will be collected around your mouth, and it is not healthy and it is not clean. So you should trim it above your what? Lips. You should not keep your mustache going on your lips. Yes. Who? Yes, he used to trim them, not to shave them. And this is the most of the ulama, is to trim the mustache, not to shave it. Yes. This one, it's up to you. You can shave it, you can keep it. Yeah, it's up to you. This part is not part of the lihya. This one is not part of the lihya. You'd like to keep it, you'd like to shave it, it's up to you. This is of the category that we say to the third category. You know, when we spoke about the hair, 3 categories, this one belongs to which category? What is the third one? Allah and His Messenger kept silent on it. So it's up to you. Yes. That is, yeah, why they say this? Because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam connected, related shaving, trimming the mustache with keeping the lihya. So because most of his ahadith, he made this combination, so many ulama understood that you don't touch your mustache until you grow the lihya. But that is not necessarily the case. If you have a mustache growing above or on your lips, and you don't have lihya growing, you should trim it at least. You should trim it at least. Now, let's go to the last one, which is al-khitan, circumcision. Khitan, the 6th practice of the grooming or natural practices. Al-khitan is wajib. Al-khitan is fard upon every Muslim. Al-khitan, circumcision, is the practice of all messengers since Adam alayhi salam, Ibrahim alayhi salam, Jesus, Moses, David, all messengers of Allah, all the prophets of Allah have gone through this procedure and did al-khitan. And for the same reason that we have been discussing, is for cleansing, for cleanliness reason. Now, how can somebody explain to me or explain to us how circumcision is important in the cleanliness? Yes. 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 That's true. This is the first reason. The second reason is, there is more reasons. Yes, it is, you have high chance of infection. You have high chance to get some diseases if you are not, if you don't have khitan. And I studied some research that you have more potential of cancer, of the penis cancer, and other types of diseases. Not necessarily this will result to this, but if you have al-khitan, you have less chance to get these type of diseases. Yes, AIDS. You have less chance to transmit this type of disease, the AIDS. Yes. Also, and subhanallah, statistics say that 50% of Americans do khitan after the birth. 50%. That means it's not necessarily Muslims. Now people are more aware that it's healthy, regardless of the religion, because mostly who believe in khitan, Muslims and Jewish. So Christians don't. But I'm saying 50% of Americans, Muslims and Jews don't come even to 5 or 10% of Americans. We are saying about 50% of Americans do khitan after, and now it's becoming in United States standard. Right after the birth, doctor walk in the room, do you like your child to be? So it's becoming standard practice in this. Alhamdulillah, this is something good. Subhanallah. And there's another reason, I'm sure there's always people like, there's another reason why circumcision is good or is important. For sexual relationship, you enjoy the sexual relationship better when you are having khitan. And people without khitan don't enjoy as much the sexual relationship. I will share with you a funny story to change a little bit the discussion. Yes. Okay, yes, you can pass the mic. If you want to speak, you can get the microphone. So the question is, how about new Muslims? New Muslims who haven't got the khitan after their birth, circumcision, when they became Muslims, they might become Muslims 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old. You know, that's not easy at that age. Huh? You are talking about the first few weeks. It's easy to get the khitan. It gets healed in few hours. The next day, I did it my son. Today, noon time. The next day, he was nothing. Alhamdulillah, he was fine. So when you are young, it gets cured and healed very quickly. When you are old, it's tough. So how we talk to new Muslims about it? Do they have to do it? They don't have to. It is an option. How to discuss this? Yes, Ilham. That's a good point. Ibrahim alayhi salam had it when he was 83 years old. He did it when he was 83 years old. And I remember, sometimes, subhanAllah, we Muslims, if you are not conscious and if you don't have wisdom, how we turn away people from Islam. I remember one day I visited Norway and they were telling me about an old brother that used to be in the masjid, and he didn't have wisdom. He was lacking wisdom in treating people. So they had new Muslims, somebody embracing Islam. And people of wisdom, when somebody is about to embrace Islam, they explain to them the fundamentals of Islam, knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the objectives of Sharia, and so on, Salat, Sawm, purification. These issues to be left later. These are not essential issues, circumcision. So after this man announced his shahada in front of people and everybody, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. So this old brother grabbed this new Muslim and he told him, come here. And he said, we have to do circumcision for you. So the guy was not familiar with this concept and he gets scared. And he said, do I have to do it? He said, yes, it's fard. He said, then I'm not Muslim anymore. Then he said, if you turn away from Islam after you embrace Islam, we cut your neck. So he said, oh my God, so there is a cut regardless. If I got to Islam, there is a cut. If I leave Islam, there is a cut. So we have to have wisdom. We have to have wisdom when we talk to non-Muslims or people who are just embracing Islam. This is of, sometimes our ignorance turn away people from Islam. Yes, Umar. What? The new Muslim? I didn't know, I was not there, but they told me the story. Allahu alam. Of course, he was an adult, but I don't know how old was he. In any case, this is just a funny story I wanted to share with you. So, new Muslims, yes, Azza. Yes, of course. Can you do it for yourself? No. This is necessity. You have to go to the doctor. Yes. Well, any case, yes, brother. Subhanallah. 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 Yeah. Subhanallah. In any case, new Muslims, yes, they should do it, but it's not as essential. Brothers, what I want to win as not as essential, which means if it is a taboo for them, it is scary for them, leave them alone. They need maybe time. Even if they did not do it and they meet Allah without doing it, it is a mistake. It is a minor issue. It's not like a major sin. Okay? It's not a major sin. So leave them alone. Okay? Don't bother them. But if they can do it, that's fine. Yes, I saw. Then he shouldn't do it. If medically you are advised not to do it because there is a higher risk or infection or whatever, then you don't do it. And you are excused in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes. Ulama, it is a mandatory. It's like any other mandatory. Let me give you example. Yes, this is the responsibility of the parents, but still when you became adult and your father did not do it in the right time, now you become responsible for yourself. You know what I mean? So it is still on your neck until it gets done. On your shoulder until it gets done. It is mandatory. And if it's not done without any legitimate reason, yes, many ulama said it is a sin. It is a sin. Now, these are the first topic, and we are done with the first topic. We call it the natural grooming practices. Okay? Now let's go back to the next, let's move on to the next topic, which is primarily the discussion of today, is the male fluids discharges. The miyah that is coming out of the body of the male. Brothers and sisters, I said in the beginning of this course that la haya'a fi ta'allum ad-din. Modesty and shyness is part of the religion, and beautiful character, beautiful quality, unless when it comes to learning, you should overcome this issue. And the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam instructed or taught us that two people will never learn. The first one is the arrogant, the one who is arrogant, because the arrogant doesn't ask, because if he were to ask, he would think that people will think of him that he doesn't know, so he wouldn't ask, he will never learn. And the second person who will never learn is the person who is shy and bashful and modest, will never learn. So keep this the screen. Yes, inshallah we'll need these slides shortly, inshallah ta'ala. Again, if you have any question, you can write it down to me. Now, what comes out of the body, the private part of the male organ? Primarily four things. One is very clear, and I don't have to spend a lot of time with it because many people are familiar with it, which is urination. Urination comes from the female organ, and everybody knows that it is impure. Everybody knows that after you urinate, you need to renew your wudu. Everybody knows that that liquid in itself is impure, and if it touches part of your clothing, then this part of your clothing needs to be washed, and so on and so forth. Everybody is familiar with this, right? This is urination. This is why it is not part of our discussion today. What is part of our discussion today, three other fluids or discharges that come out of the male organ. These are three: al-mani, al-madhi, and al-wadi. So let's inshallah ta'ala talk about them, and if you have a question you can interrupt me inshallah ta'ala and ask your question. Al-mani is known as the sperm, is known as semen, is known as al-hayawan al-manawi. So this is the name in English of al-mani. And al-mani, brothers and sisters, is the substance that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us from. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us from al-mani and the egg of women, from the sperm of the male and the egg of the women. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us. So it is responsible for our existence. It is responsible for our being. Yes. Al-mani, the sperm. Let me talk about the second one, al-madi. What is al-madi? What do you see there? Preseminal fluid. And the other one, the third one, we call it al-wadi. Al-wadi, brothers and sisters, is a liquid that comes from the male organ, not necessarily because of sexual desire. The first two, al-mani and al-wadi, comes out of the body because of sexual desire. We'll talk about them shortly, the difference between both of these two. But the last one, which is al-wadi, it is a white, thick fluid that has nothing to do with sexual desire. As a matter of fact, it happens when after the urination. It follows urination often, or when you carry something very heavy, or when you are sick, or sometimes for no reason. You see underwear wet. Most likely this is wadi. Inshallah, we'll talk about the hukm, the ruling on each one of them right now. So let's start with al-mani. Al-mani, when al-mani happens. Al-mani, brothers and sisters, which is the sperm or the semen, happens at the peak of sexual desire. Happens or comes out of the body at the peak of the sexual desire. What we call it an-nashwa, orgasm. Okay? When an-nashwa happens, the orgasm, this is al-mani. This is the liquid or the fluid that comes from the body. And after the mani, after you release the mani, then you have no sexual desire anymore as a man. For women, it's different. So you reach the peak of your sexual desire when you discharge this al-mani, the sperm. And this is, you meet your sexual desire. By releasing this, you have met your sexual desire. Now, what is or when al-madi happens? Now we learn when al-mani, the sperm, happens. As we said, at the peak of the sexual desire. In English or in Arabic, we call it an-nashwa. In English, we call it orgasm or the pleasure. Now, al-madi happens before that. Foreplay, when you are in the sexual process, you are playing with your spouse, you are starting the sexual process, you are having a relationship, but you did not release you did not reach the peak of your sexual desire. Whatever comes from the body, we call it al-madi. So this is why we call it pre. It happens before. Usually it comes as drops. Usually it comes as drops. Versus the other one comes in big quantity. In big quantity. And it gushes out. Al-mani, it gushes out. Pouring out. Versus the al-madi, it just drops. It's not in big quantity. So this is when it happens, as we said, the mani. This is one of the differences between them. Al-mani at the peak of the sexual desire, orgasm or nashwa. The al-mani, al-madi, happens when you are thinking of the sex or you are starting the sex but you did not reach the peak of your sexual desire. So sometimes thoughts only, or you are watching. Now, regardless if this is halal or haram, this is a different story. You are watching a movie, or are you thinking of sex, or you are looking at a magazine that has, unfortunately, bad pictures, you might discharge something. What do you call this thing? Madi. not mani, madi. And al-mani is thick and al-madi is thin. Al-mani, the sperm is thick, white. Al-madi is thin and between white and transparent. Between white and transparent. Yes. Yes. That's a good question. It's coming. Can you discharge sperm, mani, without having sexual relationship? We will answer this question, inshallah ta'ala. Now, why is so important to differentiate between these fluids and discharges? It is so important because it relates to our salat and purification. Now, each one of them requires something. Al-mani, when you discharge mani, you are required to what? To take shower, Islamic ghusl. You are in state of janaba, junub. Have you heard of this term, junub? Junub? Okay, so when you are in state of junub is when you discharge mani. But when you discharge madi, this is not state of janaba. Discharging madi is like discharging urination. All what you are supposed to do is what? You take wudu and you clean your private parts, your female organ, because Nabi Sallallahu instructed us to do so, and you clean underwear if it touches your underwear, because it is impure, it is najis. It is najis. Al-madi and al-wadi, consensus among the ulama, they are impure. Madi and wadi. However, al-mani, the ulama differ if it is impure or pure. And the reason why they differed, brothers and sisters, this is interesting discussion. They said we have no reports from Rasulullah explicitly telling us mani, sperm is pure or impure. The reason of their disagreement is some ulama look at mani like all the rest of the fluids comes from the private part, comes from the male organ, and urination is najis, impure. Madi is impure. Madi is impure. Wadi is impure. While mani is something else. It should be like the rest. So this is the logic of some ulama, which are Hanafi school and Maliki school. They believe it is impure, it is najis. However, Hanbali school and Shafi'i school have a different logic and argument. They said, how come something is our origin? We have been created from sperm. So we are sperm. Originally, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us from the sperm of the male and the egg of the woman. They argued how could be the origin of human beings something impure. So they said it must be pure. They said it must be pure. Anyway, I don't want to go too much into this discussion whether sperm is pure or impure. Safe side is to consider this impure and clean it from your underwear and from your body. However, all ulama in agreement that when you discharge sperm, mani, you are required to take ghusl. You are required to take shower. You are in state of janaba. Janaba can be translated in English as ritual impurity. Ritual impurity. Guys, are you taking notes? Sure? Okay. Janaba can be translated as ritual impurity. So after you discharge the sperm in any way, whether in state of weakness or in state of sleep or whatever the case is, we'll be talking about inshallah ta'ala shortly. Whatever the case, after you discharge sperm, you are in state of ritual impurity. Meaning you are And it is a major ritual impurity, because ritual impurity are of two categories. There is minor ritual impurity, which requires wudu. For example, after you use bathroom or you pass gas, you are in state of ritual impurity. But you can, only what you are required to do is wudu. But major ritual impurity requires what? Ghusl, taking shower. So this is the difference between major ritual impurity and minor ritual impurity. Major ritual impurity happen by two ways. The first is by discharging sperm in state of weakness or in state of sleep, or by let me postpone these to inshallah shortly. But the next way to get state of janaba is when Nabi Sallallahu said, when the two organs meet, when the female organ, or when the, let me be more frank and more open, when the penis enters the vagina of the female, now you have reached the age, you have reached the janaba, regardless if you just discharge sperm or not. If the penis enters the vagina, then this is a state of janaba, and you are required to take shower regardless of the discharge. Whether you have discharged sperm or mani or madi, or you did not discharge anything. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, إِذَا الْتَقَى الْخِتَانَانِ فَقَدْ وَجَبَ الْغُسْلِ. When the two organs meet and the tip of the penis get into the vagina, then you both, male and female, require to take shower, regardless of the discharge, regardless of if you have reached your sexual desire and pleasure or you did not. That is irrelevant. So janaba, or major ritual impurity, happens by two ways. Clear? Discharge of sperm or meeting the female, the male and the female organ meeting with each other. Again, as I said, this topic is, we are very frank, we are discussing something that is not pleasant discussion. As a matter of fact, it is for some. But we don't want to have this discussion, but we need to discuss it and we need to learn it. So please maintain the proper adab of the masjid regardless of this discussion, inshallah ta'ala. Now, we have learned the meaning of mani, wadi and madi. These three. Mani, sperm; madi, pre-seminal or whatever comes before the sperm. This liquid, I said, is thin and white. And wadi has no particular name, we call it white discharge. And this wadi not necessarily relate to sexual desire. Now, the second is, when this happens, mani is at the peak of sexual desire or orgasm, and al-madi happens when you foreplay your spouse or thinking of sex or something like this. And al-wadi happens when you carry something heavy, when you are sick, when and happens randomly, sometimes for no reason. And we said madi and al-wadi are impure consensus. Al-mani, al-ulama differed, but to be in the safe side, consider it as impure and clean it. Mani requires wudu, and al-mani, sperm, requires ghusl, shower, while madi and al-wadi require just wudu. Mani comes out in big quantity, flowing, outpouring, gushes out, while madi comes out in drops. I'm giving you enough tips to differentiate between these brothers and sisters. Al-wadi also comes into drops. It doesn't come into big quantity. المني thick and white, المذي is thin and also white but less whiteness than المني. And المذي or الوذي, the last one, which is out of sickness, also is thick as well. But I think what really differentiates المني between all of them is the sexual desire. Sexual desire, when you reach your pleasure, when this is the mani. And there is another difference which is helpful, brothers and sisters. When you discharge al-madi, you still continue your intercourse with your spouse. You can continue the intercourse. You can continue the process of relationship between you and your spouse. Versus after al-mani, you have reached your pleasure and you lose the sexual desire. So this is of the differences also between al-madi and al-mani. Yes. Yes. Can you remove your mask and raise your voice? Give him the microphone. Give him the microphone. Okay. Okay.
Is actually related to prostate secretions. So they are different
The
origins.
third one.
The third one
الودي.
is prostate secretion, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Jazakallah khair. Can you repeat it in the microphone?
The number one, which is money, is actually the sperm coming
Yes.
from testicles. The second one, which is muddy, comes from another organ in the pelvis, which is called seminal vesicles.
Okay.
And the third one, which is wadi, is actually prostatic fluid.
Okay. Yeah. And has nothing to do with sex desire. Yes. Yes, Azza. Yeah, but if there are indications or reasons to doubt and check, then you have to check. If you saw pictures, if you thought of sex, and there is a chance by habit after you see these pictures, after you have these thoughts, usually you discharge something, then you must check. Okay? But if there is no reason to check, why do you check? But if you get to know later on, let's say I prayed and I didn't know that I discharged anything, and after prayer I went to use bathroom, I saw something in my underwear, then I have to clean it. I have to clean my private part and do wudu and pray again. Pray again, yes. Yes. You have to wash again. Brothers and sisters, when I speak, please, there is a reason why I'm being frank. I don't want to use these terms, but I have. For al-mani, you have to take shower, the entire body. For al-madi and al-wadi, you have to wash the entire penis. Not only the pig, the entire penis must be washed. Clear? Not only the pig when there is location of najasa. The entire penis must be washed. Clothe the location of najasa. Whenever there is najasa, clean it. If it's najasa like this, clean it. You don't have to wash it entirely. Okay? Yes. Urination, yes. Well, now we come to another discussion, which is there little najasa that is overlooked by Sharia? Some madhahib like Hanafi school and Maliki school, they said one drop or two drops of najasa, regardless what is najasa is, urination or whatever, it is overlooked because it's tough. But some ulama, they said no, as long as you can manage, as long as you are aware, then there is no najasa that is overlooked. But if you are unaware of and there is some drops in your dress, then it's overlooked. So inshallah, take it easy. This is sickness is different story. We call this salas, continuation of drops of urination or gas or wadi. The last one, there is some people who have salas. This is a sickness. And how we treat this sickness is we wait until salat time regardless of these conditions, urination, wadi, madi, regardless what is these drops, you wait until salat time arrives, you go to the bathroom, clean the underwear, clean the private part, take wudu and go to pray. Even if it continues to drop, then it's overlooked. As long as you do it when the time of salat arrives, not 1 hour before, not 2 hours before. For example, I know, especially when people get older, they have this issue of salicyl bowl, urination, it drops always. What they do now, salat al-maghrib today is 8:36. Okay, 8:36. They go to the bathroom, clean underwear, clean the private part, make wudu. Even if it's happening through in the salat, it's overlooked because it's a sickness. It's not something you can manage. And this is the rule of Sharia. Al-mashaqqatu tajlibu taysir. Difficulty brings ease. Whenever there is difficulty, ease will take over. But whenever you are in the normal conditions, then you should respect these rules. Okay? Let's move, inshallah ta'ala. Before I go forward, is there any misunderstanding or ambiguity in the difference between mani, wadi, and madi? Because this is important. Alhamdulillah, I give you enough differentiations, right? I have them some questions. Okay. Okay, I will answer inshallah ta'ala these questions right after Maghrib, inshallah. Let me continue and right after Maghrib, because this class will continue after Maghrib. Okay, now, one thing, these fluids are common between men and women, but the characteristics could be different. For example, the sperm for man is white, thick, for women is more yellowish than white. And not always women discharge sperm at the peak of sexual. This is very rare among women. It's not very common. This is the standard in man. But in women, they could discharge mani, and they most of the time don't. And even if they do discharge sperm, doesn't mean they have reached their peak of sexual desire. Actually, they can continue their the intercourse even after they discharge. Unlike man, after they discharge the sperm, al-mani, they have reached their pleasure and they don't have desire anymore, unlike women. So you need to be familiar, brothers and sisters, with these facts. Let's move, inshallah. Now, what is the relationship between these man discharges and our ibadat? Tahara, salat, sawm. So, tahara, I think we have answered this in a short or summary way, that al-mani, the sperm, requires ghusl, while al-madi and al-wadi require just wudu. In case there is no water around, then tayammum would replace shower and would replace wudu. Okay? Now, I am in state of janaba and there is no water. There is no water enough for ghusl, for shower, but there is water enough for wudu. Do I take wudu or do I go to tayammum? What do you think? I am in state of janaba, discharge sperm, and then there is no water enough to take shower, but there is enough sufficient for wudu. Do I perform wudu or do I perform tayammum? You perform tayammum, because wudu does not replace shower. Tayammum replace water. Tayammum replace shower. Okay, same thing for wudu. If there is no wudu, then you can take tayammum. Now, do we have to take shower right after the intercourse with our spouses? Now, for example, after Isha, you have intercourse with your spouse, but there is no salat time until Fajr. Are you required to take shower immediately after the intercourse, after you discharge sperm, or you can sleep and when you wake up for Fajr, you take shower and go to pray? Immediately? It is better to do it right away. It is better, not mandatory, not an obligation, not a requirement. So if you do it right after the intercourse, that is better. Because this is the practice of Rasulullah ﷺ, and he said you would like to go to sleep in state of purity, so you can receive angels, you can say al-adhkar, you can read Quran, and you allow angels to come around you. But if you choose not to do so, and Nabi ﷺ said, if you cannot, for example, again, go back to this time, Arabia time. Taking shower is not fancy bathroom next to your bedroom. You have to go out, it could be very cold night, cold water, it's tough conditions. So Nabi ﷺ said, if you cannot take shower immediately, then take wudu. But this wudu, not a replacement for shower, not to allow you to pray. This wudu is just to sleep and allow angels to come to you, around you. But you are still required to take shower before Fajr. And if you cannot do shower, the least you can do, Nabi Sallam said, do tayammum. So have tayammum. Again, this tayammum not to go to pray, not to allow you to pray. This tayammum just to sleep in state of purity, and you allow angels to come near you, and you can read adhkar. But you are required to take shower before Fajr. Yes. That's true. If you die, you are in state of janaba, but it's not a sin. If you die in state of janaba, it's not a sin. Clear? It's not a noble state. It's not a good. This is why I said better to take shower immediately. This is a better state. This is the better practice, the best practice. But it is not a requirement. It is not a requirement. Yes, Zara. Of course, once water is available, you have lost your tayammum immediately. Yes. Yes, you can have as much as relationship without taking shower. Instead of janaba, yes. But Nabi Sallallahu instructed us, he said, if you have intercourse with your spouse and you would like to have another intercourse, do shower in between if you can. It's recommended, not an obligation. And the Nabi Sallallahu said it is healthier for you to take shower in between, and it gives you more energy, because after you discharge the sperm, you relax and you get in state of not a weakness, but you are not as strong, energetic as you are supposed to. So Nabi Sallallahu said, if you'd like to get another intercourse with your spouse, then it is good to take shower to bring your energy again, to bring back your energy. But it is not a requirement. Clear? Yeah. Yes. Yes, it's time, it's coming. Yes, it's coming now. It's coming now. Just give me a moment. Now, this is the relationship between these fluids or male discharges and tahara. So we have learned how these fluids relate to tahara, purification. Now, how this relates to salat? All these fluids breaks the salat if it happens in the salat. Some of it is irrelevant to happen in salat, like al-mani. It's very rare that you discharge sperm in salat. But it is possible that you discharge madi or mani inside salat. I will give you a situation where it can. Of course, if you are thinking this is unacceptable, this is haram to think of sex instead of salat, but if it happens, then it breaks the salat. But you might think of sex before salat, and you don't discharge immediately, and the discharge happens in salat, so it breaks the salat. Or you have mani, you have intercourse with your spouse, you discharge mani, you took shower, and after the shower, you are going to pray, you are set to prayer, and there is something left in your private part, and it's releasing in salat. It breaks the salat as well. Sometimes, and listen to this, sometimes you discharge sperm and you take shower, and after shower something comes out, and sometimes you recognize this part of the sperm, but it happens later on. Or this is mani wadi, which is the other one. In any case, you are not required to take another shower. All what you are required to do is to clean it, clean your private part, and do the wudu again. Clear? So it breaks the salat. Yes. What? Can you? I couldn't understand. Can you pray with what? Oh, yeah, we don't do wudu. Of course, this type of ghusl, we call it ghusl janaba, the shower of janaba, it replaces wudu. It replaces wudu. However, the complete way of doing this ghusl is to include wudu in it. How Nabi Sallam used to do this wudu, this ghusl? He start by cleaning the private part, the front and the back parts, the private parts. He cleans them, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then he clean his hand because he touches private part. Then he does complete wudu. Then he starts taking the shower, the right side and then the left side. So if you do actually complete wudu, complete shower according to the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it included wudu in it. But even if you don't do it that way, which means you do niyyah, intention, and you pour water over all your body, make sure that every part of your body is being washed, that is sufficient, and you don't have to do wudu. Is that clear? Is that clear, brothers and sisters? Yes. Sprinkle of water. Just, you don't have to take it away and put it in what they call it? Wash. Yeah, you don't have. Yes, just to remove the najasa as much as you can. Yeah, while you are wearing it. But yeah, but if you are in a state where you can change your underwear, that's fine. That is even better. Now, how does these fluids relate to sawm? And this is an important issue. Sperm, discharging sperm deliberately instead of fasting breaks the fast. In any method, in any way. By watching something, by self-stimulation, by having sexual relationship with your spouse, whatever the way is, doing it instead of fasting breaks the fast. Is that clear? Now, no, I'm talking about sperm. Sperm, the first one, al-mani, discharging mani. Again, this is the note. Discharging sperm, mani, deliberately, underline deliberately, instead of fasting does break the fast. In any way you discharge, deliberately, as long as it is deliberately, could be by having intercourse with your spouse, or self-stimulation, or watching something, or whatever. Now, if it happens in dream, then it does not break the fast. You are sleeping after Fajr and you saw a dream and you discharge, then that does not break the fast. Does not break the fast. There is, if you have intercourse in the day of Ramadan, then you have to free a slave where there is no available slave. Then you have to fast 60 consecutive days. If you cannot, then you have to feed 60 needy persons. This is the hukm, the punishment if you do it. Yes, you cannot go to the next option until you do your best. You cannot free slave, then you have to fast 60 consecutive days, 60 days together. And if you break one day, you have to start over. For male and female. If they do it willingly, deliberately, for male and for female and male. Oh, yeah, cycle interrupts them. That is not considered interruption for them. But other than that, they must fast. In any case, and then if you cannot fast 60 days because of sickness, because of whatever, then you have to feed 60 individuals, poor people. Now, this is for sperm. Madi and wadi don't break the fast. Madi and al-madi, again, the second two that come out as drops, not gushes out, not sperm. These ones don't break the fast. And that happens maybe in the day of Ramadan. You foreplay with your spouse, maybe you kiss your spouse, maybe you think of sex, and you discharge something. That does not break the fast, as long as it is not mani, it is not sperm. Now, this is the relationship between these fluids and our purification, our salat, our sawm. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, again, I will reiterate what I said shortly, that how the state of janaba happens in two ways. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, happens by the sexual relationship, even if you don't discharge anything. And how we define the sexual relationship, because sexual relationship, it's a process. There is a foreplay, there is a kissing, there is this, there is this. All these don't require ghusl unless the penis enters the vagina of the female. At that time, you both, the male and the female, are required to take shower, and they are in state of janaba, even if they don't discharge anything. This is the first way of getting junub. The second way of getting junub is by discharging the sperm in any way. In dream, self-stimulation, sexual relationship, intercourse, whatever the case is. Now, let me ask you a question. If you are having intercourse with your spouse, and you did not yet, the penis did not enter the vagina of the female, but you have discharged something, not sperm yet, and most likely what that would be? Al-madi, not al-wadi, al-madi. Are you required to take shower if that you stopped there and you didn't continue? What are you required to do? You wash your entire private part and take wudu if you didn't continue. Is that clear? because you did not discharge sperm and you did not enter the private part into the private part. Is that clear? Yes. So I just want you to understand what makes a person junub. Two things. The private part, the male private part enters the female private part. This is one way to get junub. Doesn't have to go all the way, even the tip of it. You are junub. And the second way is discharge sperm. This is how the person gets junub. Now, this is the second topic, and we have finished the second topic. I didn't forget your question. It's coming. Don't worry. The first topic was what? What was the first topic? Natural grooming practices, which we covered 6 practices. The second topic was what? Male fluids discharges. And the third topic of today is al-ihtilam. Wet dreams. Wet dreams. Wet dreams, brothers and sisters, is when you discharge sperm in state of sleep. And whether you see something in your dream and you discharge, or you don't see anything, but when you wake up in the morning, you find in your underwear something and you recognize that this is sperm. Okay? We consider this al-ihtilam, wet dreams. If you have any question, you can write it and put it in the box. Inshallah, I will answer the questions after Maghrib. So, again, what is the definition of wet dreams? Al-ihtilam is when you discharge sperm particularly, not anything else. When you discharge al-mani while sleeping, regardless if you see something in your dream, which means sexual scene in your dream, or you didn't see anything, but when you woke up, you find your underwear wet. This is the definition of wet dreams. Now, wet dreams requires ghusl, janaba, because we said when you discharge sperm in any way, whether awake or sleep, you are required to take shower. Now, that happens, this is a biological phenomenon, by the way, and it happens mostly for teenagers and single ones, because they don't discharge the sperm with that frequent with their partners, with their spouses, so it happens this way. So a biological relief, you can say, biological relief, and it is healthy for the body to release. So it happens while sleeping, and sometimes you see something and you feel the pleasure in your dream, and when you wake up, you remember that you saw something, and sometimes you don't see or you don't recall that you have seen anything in your dream, but you find your underwear wet. Now, how we recognize that is sperm is, again, sperm comes in a big quantity. So if it is just when you woke up, you just drops here and there, that most likely is what? Madhi, not mani. Maybe you have seen something in your dream, but not to the extent that you reached the point where you discharge sperm. You just discharge madhi. In this case, what are you supposed to do? Clean the underwear, wash the entire private part, and then take wudu. If you see the wet part is big, because sometimes you don't recognize the color, just you see the wet underwear wet. When you see underwear wet and it's in large quantity, that is mani. And whether you recall something from your dream or you did not recall anything, you are required to take shower. This is, we call it wet dreams. Is it simple? Now ask your question. What was your question? Can you discharge sperm? Yes, here is it. Here is a case. The cases where you can release, can you discharge sperm is whether in sexual desire, which means having actual intercourse, or self-stimulation. We'll talk about it shortly, the hukm of it, whether halal or haram, or wet dreams. Anything else, or of course, if you can, sometimes some ulama discuss, can you reach the peak of your sexual desire by just thinking about sex? Mostly it doesn't happen. Mostly al-madhi comes when you think, when you have only thoughts, but it might happen. Now, what is the criterion by which you determine this is sperm requiring you to take shower or no? It is very simple way. If it happens in big quantity, crashes out, then and you have reached the peak of your sexual desire, this is the sperm. It might happen by seeing something, or thinking of something, or in your wet dream, or actual intercourse. If one of these three are not there, then this is not sperm. If you did not reach your orgasm, nashwa, if you don't reach your actual your sexual pleasure, or it did not crash out, then this is not, and it's not a big quantity, then this is not sperm. This is al-madhi. Wallahu a'lam. Yes, Azam. It's not. This is a biological state. It's not a mind state. But of course there is a connection when you, and I'm talking about normal circumstances. When you reach your orgasm, which is a nashwa, usually you relax after that. Usually you have reached your sexual desire. So this is basically, now is this a mind state or biological state or the organ state? I don't know how to describe it, but this is the reality of it. Clear? Yeah. Any question? Any question here? Okay. Now let's go to the next point today, which is signs of puberty. This is easier topic. Now this is the fourth topic. Signs of puberty. Signs of adulthood. After we spoke, are you with me, guys? Are you with me? Now, after we spoke about the male fluid discharges, now you are familiar enough of these issues. Now it is easier for me to discuss signs of puberty, because signs of puberty are four. Signs of puberty are four. Any one of them, if one of these four things happen, then you have reached your puberty. You became Islamically an adult. You became responsible to fulfill the obligations of Allah and to stay away from the prohibitions of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So what are they? The first one is al-ihtilam. What means al-ihtilam is to discharge sperm in state of weakness, in a wake or sleep. The first time that happens to you, you became an adult. Usually it happens in state of sleep. Usually most people, the first time they discharge sperm is the state of sleep. They are sleeping, they wake up, they find their underwear wet. You became an adult. You became an adult. And regardless if you have seen something in your dream, sexual things, or you didn't see anything, that does not matter. What matters is when you woke up, you found underwear wet. Then you have reached your puberty. Now, the second one is reaching the age of 15 years old. Female and male. If you did not see any discharges before 15 years old, then by becoming 15 years old, lunar calendar, not the other calendar. So, which means if you are talking about regular calendar, it is less than 15 years old. It is 14 and few months. Because the lunar calendar and the regular calendar are different. You know that, right? Every 30 years, you have 1 year difference. So if it is 15 years, you have half year difference. Huh? What? 36. So now if you are 14 years and half in regular calendar, then you have reached the age of puberty. Of course, if you didn't see anything prior to this. Most people do reach age of puberty before that. 12, 13, 14, they see something. And women even get it earlier than men. But if you don't see anything by that age, then 15 years old, underline lunar calendar. 14 years old according to lunar calendar, then you are an adult. Regardless if you have seen anything or you didn't see anything. Now, the third way to become or to determine adulthood or puberty is growing pubic hair. If you start growing pubic hair, then you became an adult. When I say growing pubic hair, I'm not talking about the regular hair that even kids have around the body. I'm talking about the type of hair that should be shaved, big enough to be shaved. But the regular hair that now in my hand I have here, this is not the type of hair that I'm talking about. Okay? This is sometimes kids have this type of hair, whether in their pubic or in their skin, but this is not the type of hair. I'm talking about something beyond that, something beyond this normal hair, something growing beyond this, then you have reached the age of puberty. These are signs, 3 signs common between females and males. And there is one extra for the females, which is menstruation. Once they see menstruation, then female, they have reached the age of puberty. So among these, now males, we have 3 concerning us. The first one that happens to you, you are an adult. Whether the age or الاحتلام, discharge, or growing pubic hair. Is that clear? These are the signs of puberty. Easy, right? Now, this is the 4th topic. Now we are moving to the 5th topic. The 5th topic is self-stimulation, masturbation. The hukum of it. Is it halal or haram? Is it halal or haram? Raise your hand if you don't understand what masturbation is. So everybody is aware of it, right? Is to cause yourself by using your hand self-stimulation. You cause yourself to discharge sperm. And you enjoy that. You reach your sexual desire by doing so, by using your hand. Is this halal or haram? Definitely, if you do that, then you are in state of janaba, regardless if this is halal or haram. Because we said discharging sperm makes you in state of janaba, regardless if you do it the halal way or the haram way. All what we have discussed about sexual relationship, we mean the halal sexual relationship with your spouse. But if you do it the haram way, despite the crime you have committed, despite the anger of Allah upon you, you have did something major sin, but still you are in state of janaba and you have to take shower and so on and so forth. Is that clear? So we have to differentiate between al-haram as a haram and the consequences of discharging sperm. Because what we are discussing here is after you discharge this, then you are required to do 1, 2, 3. Regardless whether you do it the halal way or the haram way. Now, masturbation, according to most of the ulama, Hanafi school, Maliki school, and Shafi'i school, is haram. The reason why it's haram for them, because Allah said in the Quran, وَالَّذِينَ هُمْ لِفُرُوجِهِمْ حَافِظُونَ إِلَّا عَلَى أَزْوَاجِهِمْ أَوْ مَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُهُمْ فَإِنَّهُمْ غَيْرُ مَلُومِينَ. When Allah was describing the believers, He said, and those who preserve their private parts, except when they have intercourse with their spouses. So the ayah did not exclude or did not make any exception except when you have your intercourse with your spouse. So some ulama said, which are the majority, said, now fulfilling your sexual desire in any way other than doing it with your partner, your spouse, is haram because of this ayah, including self-stimulation. This is the ayah they use. This is what Imam Shafi'i used, because Allah said they preserve their private part unless if they have intercourse with their spouse. This is what majority of ulama said. Now you have other ulama like Hanbali school and Imam bin Hazm and other Sahaba. They said, let's differentiate between al-haram and something that could be not good, not noble character, not noble practice, but not necessarily something haram and a sin. So they call it makruh. Hanbali school and Ibn Hazm and some Sahaba like Ibn Abbas, they said it is makruh, disliked, but it is not to the extent to be haram. Why? They said touching one's private part, you touching private part, is halal, right? Now, they said, what's the difference between touching your private you touching your private part once, or you touch it more than once to the extent then you reach your sexual desire? They didn't see difference. They still said it is not the norm. They still said it is not noble practice. They still believe it is something should be avoided, but they did not put it in the category of al-haram. And I believe this is more balanced opinion, especially given where we live and the tremendous amount of sexual desire that our youth and young brothers and sisters are going through. So to cut this door, it is not reasonable. It is not. That doesn't mean I'm encouraging you to do it. Astaghfirullah. It's something I said. It's not noble. But practicality is important. Now, if the ulama said, if the person fears for himself or for herself to commit haram, fornication, to commit zina, then it is better for them to fulfill that desire by self-stimulation. better than doing it in a haram way that is major and big crime. So now we are now doing here what we call it in Sharia أخف الضررين. This is not good, but this is extremely bad, extremely dangerous, extremely evil, and brings the anger of Allah, which is having the sex with other than your wife or your spouse. This is a crime. Now, if I am in a state where I am overwhelmed by sexual desire, if I don't do this, I might commit a sin. What is better? Definitely, all ulama in agreement that it's better for you to resort to such a practice, although it is not noble, it is not norm, it is not a default, and you should not take it. And the ulama said, still has a feeling of shame. But again, Islam is a deen of practicality. And where we live, everybody is aware. I don't need to give you a lesson of now using social media, going to school, just walking in the street, going to the mall. You see images that fire sexual desire of the person. Now, of course, there are many ways to deal with these conditions we are living in, but one of these unpleasing solution that we might resort to is this practice, which is self-stimulation. So it is not good, it is not recommended, it is disliked, but it is not necessarily haram or crime. This is the balanced opinion that I believe is good. Yes, it's what I said. The ulama, some ulama, which is the majority, Shafi'i, Hanafi, and Maliki, they said it is sinful. But Hanbali school and some Sahaba, they said, no, it is makruh, it is not sinful. And I believe this second opinion, it is more balanced opinion. So it is makruh, it is discouraged. Don't do it, don't resort to it. But as I said, what our youth are living through, they cannot, I don't want to say they cannot, because they can. But it is tough, it is difficult to keep and to control the sexual desire until you get married. And sometimes you get married 25, 26, 28, 20. So now until then, from 14 and 15 years old, it is if you have the faith and the iman and the noble character to control your desire until you get married, this is what is beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if you feel weak and you are overwhelmed by sexual desire, it is better to resort to this practice than going to zina and bring the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is that clear? So I am not encouraging you to do it. What I am saying is, if you have to do something bad, then it's better to do something less bad. Is that clear? But it is harmful regardless. Even from health perspective, I will be talking about it shortly, it is not healthy. It is not healthy. And it will affect your sexual desire in the future when you get married. Because it is, with the time, sometimes you get addicted to such bad practice. And when you get married, you get addicted to certain practice. And many sisters, brothers, when you are in a position of imam, you get to know what's going on inside the homes and the bedrooms of people. Sisters texting or coming in counseling and saying that brothers my husband does not enable to satisfy my desires. And many times when we investigate and when we talk, and then we come to a point where we are frank, the husband is doing this way. Why? It's just because when he was a teenager, get used to this way, and then even when he became an adult and married, he's still addicted to such. So it's very harmful. But again, you are in a situation where you are trying to minimize the evil as much as we can. Yes, Arsalan. It does, because it would lead you to haram. And I will talk about some of the haram consequences. After some time, you don't enjoy it, and then it requires you to do something called zina al-ain, visual zina. What does it mean? So you have to see some pictures. You have to see some videos to enjoy and to reach your sexual desire. And that is definitely haram. That is definitely haram. What do we call it? Pornography? What do you call it? Pornography. So viewing pornography or videos of sex and pictures of this is definitely haram. And this is more damaging, as I said, and it creates in the mind of the person an ideal way of how sex look like and how women looks like, and how when he gets married he's not satisfied with his wife, because you will never find a woman that looks like these videos. It's not real. These videos are fake, are not real, but are destroying the psyche of the man. And the man, when get married, will never be able to enjoy his relationship with his wife, because in his mind, in the subconscious of his mind, he has these pictures and videos, and he will never see his wife as such. So it will be very, very damaging. And then after marriage, we'll see all types of problems between the spouses, between these. And when we dig deep in these problems, many times we find that this is where the issue started. This is why the images we are seeing is damaging. This is why غض البصر that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recommended us to do, to control your eyes, your sight, and don't expand your sight, your eyes to all these images, even in the street, let alone videos and social media and Instagram and Snapchat, even in the mall, even in the school. I know how difficult it is. I am living in this society, but there is a consequence. There is a consequence, and many people suffer the consequences. And many people, many families were destroyed because of these issues. So be mature and try to manage, and this is why early marriage is important. You know, that time, early time, why? If I ask anybody in this gathering, how old was your grandfather or grandmother when they got married? Or your great grandfather? I am sure I will get ages like 13 years old and 14 years old and 15 years old. Do you think what is the difference between 15 years old 100 years ago, 150 years ago, and 15 years old now? It is biologically we are the same. We have the same desires, but our maturity is being destroyed by the type of tarbiyah, the type of upbringing, the types of movies, the types of education, the type of schools, the types of atmosphere. And now, even 25, wallahi, I talk to families that they have kids 23, 24, still young. Come on. Sahaba were 18 years old, they were rulers, they were kings and umara, and they were army leaders. And now, 23 years, you're telling me it's not yet to get married? And then you expect this person to be sexually pure and clean? So we have to look deep to this issue, and as much as we can, as a families, as individuals, as masajid, as mentors, as counselors, we try to manage and minimize the damage, but it's really damaging. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created this desire within us, the sexual desire, for a reason. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran this desire as a favor on us, upon us. ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا لتسكنوا إليها وجعل بينكم. Allah mentioned this as a favor, as a blessing. So, but Allah said and stated the purpose of this desire. He said, so you can build an intimacy and love and mawadda between you and your partner. You know, I can talk to anybody here. I can mingle with anybody here. I can camp with anybody here. I can travel with anybody here. Friends, this. But I cannot have this relationship except with one person in my life. So Allah wanted you to build an entity with this partner, with love and hub and ta'awun and mercy and the tool that Allah instilled inside of you to reach that goal is that desire, sexual desire. So it is a noble desire, but it should not be abused in the haram way. And it is a test in the same time. It is a test. Any blessing of Allah, it is a test in the same time. It is a test. How is it a test? How is it a test? Adfar, how is it a test? The sexual desire, we said it is a blessing, but it could be test as well. How? Come. To be patient and to control it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is watching over you. He said, I know I created this desire inside of you, but watch out. Just be patient until you get married. Don't fulfill it in the haram way. So it is a test. So we better be patient, inshallah ta'ala. And also, if you are listening to me as a parents here, plan to have your kids marry early enough. Wallahi, it is. I know the maturity now. There are many protocols. You have to graduate from school. You have to have a degree. You have to have a career. You have all this nonsense. All this nonsense. We are being fed this, and we are made to believe that it cannot happen unless we do it their way. I'm not telling you are throwing your daughter to irresponsible man, vice versa. You don't do, your son is irresponsible and you have him married. But the question is, why your son is irresponsible and he's 18 years old and 20 years old? And why? So the issue is in the upbringing. The issue is in the tarbiyah. So we have to manage and do the best we can. What is the time of Maghrib? 8:30. So we have some time, inshallah ta'ala. Actually, we are reaching almost the end of the course. So let's talk about, let's summarize what we have covered so far. The first topic was what was the first topic? Natural grooming practices. The second topic was male fluid discharges. The third topic was wet dreams. The fourth topic was signs of puberty. The fifth topic was self-stimulation. And the last topic, inshallah ta'ala, actually, or before the last, but it's number 6, is intimacy. What's halal and haram in the intimacy? What is the boundaries? What is the prohibitions when it comes to intimacy? When we say intimacy, you're talking about the halal intimacy, which means with your spouse, with the wife or the husband that you married according or upon the book of Allah and the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So there are few muharramat, prohibitions, and anything else is halal. So because the haram is limited, so we list the haram and anything else, enjoy it, is halal. What is haram? Anal intercourse is haram. Anal intercourse, anal sex is haram. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam made this of the major sins. So you cannot have sex from that opening. It must be from the vagina. This is the proper way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed us to do it. So anal sex is prohibited. And I will share with you this story. جاء رجل إلى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. A man came to Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم. And he said, Ya Rasulullah, I have a question, but it's so embarrassing. He said, go ahead. And he couldn't find a way to ask her. It's not easy to ask such a question. He said, can I have sex, intercourse with my wife from her back? And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, yes, you can. And the man left. After he left, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam realized that his question could mean this and could mean this. So he called him back. He said, come back. Oh man, come back. He said, and so look at the wording of Rasul. It's not me, it's wording of Rasulullah. He said, what did you mean by sex from the back? Did you mean that the opening of the back, which is the anus, or did you mean that it is you are having sex in the vagina, but she's turning around? Your spouse, her back is toward your face and her face is the other way, but the actual intercourse is in the vagina. He said, what did you mean by your question? He said, what I meant is the second, which means I am having sex in the vagina, but only the position, she is not facing me, her back is facing me, but the sex is in the vagina. Nabi Sallallahu said, if this is what you asked for, this is halal. But if you meant that you enter, I will be very frank and specific and explicit to learn. If you meant that you enter your penis in the opening of the back of your wife, this is a major sin, haram. Is that clear? This is haram. This is haram. However, what is haram is exactly what I stated. Anything other than this is halal. Meaning, if you are playing with the back of your wife, even by putting your penis on that is not haram. What is haram is to end the opening, to the penis to be entered into that opening. This is haram. But anything other than this is halal, and there is nothing wrong in this. Okay? I am sorry to be that explicit, but this is how we learn. And the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, after he answered him, he said, Inna Allah la yastahyi min al-haq. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not embarrassed from speaking the truth. This is what I'm saying. It's not something that I would like to discuss in the masjid, but we have to learn and educate our people. This is the first prohibitions in intimacy. The second prohibitions in intimacy is having sex or intercourse while menstruation. When ladies are in their monthly cycles, it is haram to have sex. Again, what do we mean by haram to have sex? What is haram is only to have the penis entered into the vagina because it's bleeding. But anything other than this is halal. You can be both naked, you can both play with each other, you can have the wife stimulate you by her hand, or whatever you enjoy the relationship. But the only haram, what is haram, is she's bleeding, and when she's bleeding, which is menstruation, you cannot enter your private part into her vagina until she's clean and she takes shower. But anything other than that is halal. Okay? Now, the third prohibitions in intimacy is while you are fasting. Yes, brother.
Better to don't do that because the Prophet the Prophet who was very mature, but not everybody like that.
What? No, 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 you mean
In the period time,
no, that is not true. Maybe you are talking about fasting. Don't get closer with to your wife while you are fasting because you don't control yourself.
better to go away from it because you are
You might not control yourself and do the haram thing, right? Of course. I understand. So what brother is saying is, can we say it's better to stay away from your wife while she's in her menstruation because there is a chance that you are in sexual desire, you are overwhelmed by the desire and you don't control yourself and you have actual intercourse, which means you enter your private part into her private part, which is prohibited during this time. So can we advise that stay away? I would say that is not the proper solution, because if you keep the husband away from his wife 7 days or 8 days, that could be harmful as well, because the husband can start thinking of haram. So the proper way is to have the husband educated and fear Allah enough not to do it. And alhamdulillah, there is plenty of other things that can fulfill your desire, but not necessarily explicitly doing this. And there are many. So these people should be educated enough and fear Allah enough not to do it. So the third prohibitions is to have sex while you are fasting. It's major sin and it breaks the fast. 3 things break the fast while you are fasting: eating, drinking, and having intercourse with, even with our spouses. It's halal outside of Ramadan, outside of the fast, but while we are fasting becomes haram. So this is haram, and if it happens, you have to, as I said, you have to free slave. If you cannot, then fast 60 consecutive days. If you cannot, then feed 60 poor. Yes. Any fasting. Any fasting. The only thing is, if you do it in voluntarily fast, you are not committing a sin, because you can break the fast if you want. But if you do it that you are not fasting anymore, so you have broken your fast. But if you are fasting an obligation fast, whether Ramadan or you are making up Ramadan, then it becomes prohibited, because this is an obligation fast. You cannot break it. Yeah, if you are fasting a sunnah fast and you felt overwhelmed by your wife and desire and you like to have intercourse, it is makruh, but it is not haram. It is disliked, but it is not haram. No, because this is not a crime. This is not a sin. It is something inappropriate, but it is not haram. If you are fasting voluntarily, sunnah fast. Now, if a husband forces his wife to have intercourse while they are fasting, then, and she cannot resist because he might become violent or so, now he is sinful and she is not sinful. He is sinful and she is not sinful, because she needs to try to stop him, but if he might become violent or aggressive, then she is not sinful and he is the sinful only. Yes. No, it's not. Slavery is not active anymore in our world, so it's not applicable anymore. This is the easy answer. That time, people used to buy people from the market. You go to the market, as you go across Gates Mall, there is Macer's, there is JCPenney, and there is a slave store. You go, you look to a guy or a girl that you like, come with me, you are my slave from now on. They do whatever you want. Unfortunately, this is human experience. And that existed in the United States 150 years ago for African Americans. Yeah. Under the ground. Under the ground. Yes, there are. But under the ground, not officially and publicly. But there are. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yes. So it's not applicable anymore. Yeah. Yes. With what? Device. Yeah, I'm coming to this. I'm coming to this. So during Hajj, yes. So during Hajj, while you are in state of Ihram, you know Hajj, not the entire Hajj, certain amount of Hajj. When you start Ihram until you finish your Ihram, during this time it's haram to have intercourse with your spouse. Okay. Now, yes. As a matter of fact, that's true. But it becomes more when it's in prohibited times. Yeah, now this is a question. We'll answer maybe after Maghrib. Can a husband force his wife to have intercourse? We'll answer this after Maghrib, inshallah. Now, let's finish this. What is the prohibitions in terms of intimacy? The first one is anal intercourse or sex. The second one is during menstruation. The third one is while fasting or during Hajj, Ihram. That's a good point. Jazakallah khair. The fourth prohibitions is to have sex with your spouse while watching haram movies or videos. Although you are doing it with your wife, but you are including what? Pornography. This is haram. This is haram. Even if you are doing it with your legitimate spouse. And the fifth prohibition is to film yourself having sex with your wife. This is haram. Even if it is your wife, to tell me I can watch it later when I'm traveling, this is haram. Number one, you don't know who will watch it again. Now everything is in their different hand. You know that we have no privacy whatsoever. Number three, you might divorce at certain time. And this lady becomes haram for you at certain time. Now you cannot have the access to such videos. So filming yourself having intercourse with your spouse is prohibited. Okay? So I will stop here inshallah ta'ala. And or let me finish this. We have few minutes left. Oral sex. We'll finish with oral sex. Is oral sex haram or halal? I would like you, brothers and sisters, to differentiate between nobility or noble character or noble qualities and haram. Certain practices could be unacceptable in certain cultures, but not necessarily haram. And this is one of them. Maybe some cultures view this as something unacceptable. But let's be honest, where we live, we have learned and opened our eyes to many, many practices. Now, whether it's good or bad, this is a different story. One of them is this type of sex or techniques in sex. One of them is oral sex, which means the husband putting his mouth in the private part of his spouse, vice versa, the wife doing it for her husband. Is this halal or haram? The answer is there is no proof this is haram. As a matter of fact, all the reports that other than what I listed, you can enjoy the relationship with your spouse as much as you want. Now, some people find it difficult to comprehend. They said, your mouth is noble organ, you are mentioning the name of Allah, you are saying adhkar, how can you put it in a place like this? This is a logical argument, has no base in Sharia. I know maybe a feeling, that's fine if you like, if you don't want to do it. But we cannot say it's haram, and no alim say it's haram. Okay? It is unknown to person. If you go to traditional books, you don't find this issue there because they didn't know such a case. They didn't know such a practice. They didn't think of it. But time changed. We are exposed to different cultures. Among them is this practice. Now, is this halal or haram? As I said, if it is unacceptable in your culture or in your feeling, don't do it. But don't say it's haram. But if you want to do it in mutual agreement between you and your spouse, you don't force it, there is mutual agreement and acceptance from both sides, then it is okay to do it. We'll stop here, inshallah ta'ala, and now we pray Maghrib and we come back right after Maghrib. We don't have that much left. We answer the questions and we talk about certain etiquettes, and inshallah ta'ala we conclude. Maybe we need between 20 and half an hour inshallah ta'ala after Maghrib. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. So again we go over the topics, we summarize the topics we have covered so far. The first one is Sunan al-Fitra, which is natural grooming practices. Second topic is what? Man or male fluid discharges. And we spoke about all the discharges that can come out of the body of the man and the hukm, the ruling of each one of them and the characteristics of each one of them and how these relate to our tahara, to our salat, to our sawm. And the third topic was, what was that? Wet dreams. And we spoke about this with details. And the fourth topic was what? Signs of puberty. Signs of puberty. And we spoke about all signs of puberty and the ahkam of that. The fifth one was self-stimulation. Okay, and the sixth one was intimacy, haram and halal in intimacy. And I think we have finished all these topics. Before I go to the questions, inshallah, that I have, I will go over the etiquettes of qada al-haja, etiquettes of using bathroom. Inshallah, it will be short, but I think it's related to the topics that we are discussing, that some people don't learn because of haya, because of shyness or bashfulness or modesty. And we said that ilm or haya should not prevent us from learning what is necessarily in our deen. So if I would like to summarize these etiquettes of using bathroom, the first one is to avoid accompanying anything that has the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala into the bathroom or while you are using bathroom. And when I say using bathroom, don't have the typical way, which is you're having bathroom in your home. Sometimes you are traveling, sometimes you are in ways that is not typical bathroom. Make sure that you have nothing that contains the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because it will be disrespect to the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The second adab is to cover yourself, to be away from the eyes of people and to cover yourself. Again, these adab may be not that much relevant to our lives, but it might be. If we are camping or something like this, it might be. The third is to say dua, Bismillah, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-khubthi wal-khaba'ith before you enter the bathroom, and you say ghufranak after you leave the bathroom, you exit the bathroom. The fourth is not to talk while you are using bathroom. You should not talk while you are using bathroom at all. It's not from the adab. And what I'm saying, you say while you are using bathroom, I'm not talking about if you are at home, you have beautiful bathroom, and you are in the sink washing. No, I'm using while you are sitting, relieving yourself. This is what I'm saying using bathroom. You should not talk during this time. Number 5, you should not release yourself or leave najasa while you face the qibla, nor you give your back to the qibla. So when you use bathroom, this is the qibla, okay? I cannot release myself this way, nor this way. I need to be this way or this way, out of respect to the qibla, okay? So we should not face the qibla while we are using bathroom. Okay. You should not use bathroom, particularly you should not urinate in your bath while you are taking the shower. You should not do that. You should not urinate standing if you can. And as I said many times, these what they call this for in here in the United States, urinals. We Muslims don't use urinals for many reasons. One, we spoke about covering yourself. Here is open. It's fun. It's cool, right? It's unbelievable, this culture. In any case, you cannot use them for this reason. And number 2 is because we should not stand. Standing while urinate, not haram, but it's makruh, it's disliked. It's only in certain conditions it's better to urinate standing. If you were to sit, you might harm yourself or bring najasa to your body or your dress. For example, let's say you are in fortress or in a place where might be some animals or some dangerous things around. If you sit, you might be bite by something or something. So there is a risk, so it's better to be standing to be safe. Or you go to bathroom, but it's nasty bathroom. Okay, if you were to sit, you are going to you are exposing your dress or your body to more najasa. In this case, just do it standing. Other than these 2 cases, the default is to be sitting while urinate. Yes. Say it again. Yes, so this is why it is disliked to do it standing, because the drops of the urinate will be back to you, to your body, to your dress. This is why it's disliked. So why, even if there is a need to do it standing, you have to do it in certain way. Make sure that najasa will not come back. And I will leave it to your creativity and your smartness to figure out a way to do it. Okay? I cannot walk you through this. I'm sorry. There is a way. There is a way. Yes. Yeah. If you think that a considerable amount of drops were back to your dress, then definitely you have to change or to clean. But if you think not that many or nothing, none, or very, very, very maybe negligible amount, then inshallah you're fine. Maybe after, if it's something negligible, after you make wudu, maybe take some water like this and just over your dress, inshallah ta'ala, and that will be sufficient. But if it is negligible thing, but if it's considerable thing, you saw as you are naked, you say, mashallah, many things coming back, then come on, go to change. Yes. And basically, the most important thing when we use bathroom is to clean after yourself. And it is something that we Muslims are proud of. It is why, since we are very, very young, 4, 5, 6 years old, we are taught by our parents how to clean ourselves, whether the big one or urination. We clean after ourselves with water, with whatever it takes. And unfortunately, in some cultures, it's so ugly. So alhamdulillah, and we should continue to spread this culture. It's part of the cleanliness of our deen, because our deen is about spiritual cleanliness and physical cleanliness, and this is part of the physical cleanliness. Now, in cleaning yourself, what should be used? Is there, or is the water the only thing that can be used, or can we use something else? In the presence of water, then you should use water. That's clear, right? For urination and for the other one, you should use water. Some people ask, how do we clean after urination? You know, I was teaching sometimes one day in youth, and then I get question, okay, I understand how I clean after I do the other one, but urination, what do I clean? What do I clean? You clean the top of your penis, because there is najasa in it. You make sure that all the drops, nothing coming out, and you get water with your left hand, not the right hand. Your right hand is noble. You use it in dhikr, use it in food, use it in tasbih of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, use it in the noble things, and leave the left hand to these things. You got water in your left hand. After you make sure there is no drops coming out, you wait, be patient, you are not in a rush. Many people, they clean and then after they leave, they feel drops in their underwear. No, this is najasa. Wait until you clean yourself properly and wait all the drops to go out, and then get water and clean your private part. Clean especially the top of it where the urination gets out. Okay? Now this is how we use water. Now, can we use toilet tissue paper or something like this, or even stone in the desert, in this, in that? Yes, you can use it. When it comes to urination, it's clean how to use it. Get a piece of this paper or something like this and wipe over that place. Wipe over that place. Now, the other part, you need to clean and clean and clean until you get something, that paper, the white one, you get it white. You keep cleaning until there is the color is white. You get everything clean. But we primarily use water. We don't go to the alternatives until the water is not available. And it's good when you are traveling, this particularly our elderly, our adults here, and old school like myself, we know when you are traveling, we stop by a gas station, we know the type of these bathrooms, they don't have water, so we take a bottle with us. But I don't see youth doing this. So get used to taking bottle of water when you go to this type of bathroom. Keep some bottles in your car or something like this, so when you go to the bathroom, clean yourself properly. And don't be ashamed of doing so, yes. That is better than doing it dry. That is better than doing it dry. There is flushable, yeah. 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 And this is, brothers, this is not something optional. This is a must. If you don't do it, you are sinful. Can you believe the how cleanliness is so profound and deep in our Sharia? It is as important as the rest of the halal and haram. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam one day was walking by cemetery, and by the revelation of Allah, he's a messenger, he gets revelation. He received the revelation that these two individuals in their graves are being subjected to punishment. And the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam shared this piece of information with with his company, with his companions around him, Sahaba. So he said these two individuals are being subjected to punishment at this moment. Then he said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, إِنَّهُمَا لَيُعَذَّبَانِ وَمَا يُعَذَّبَانِ فِي كَبِيرٍ. They are being punished, and as a matter of fact, they are not being punished for something of a big deal. It's not something they could have easily avoided. This is what Nabi meant by it's not a big deal. And then he said one of them used to spread namima. What is namima? Huh? No, namima is to take the words between people to create animosity. I go to brother Abu Hamza, he said, Abu Hamza, you know what Zahid said about you? You have, and then I go to Zahid, you know what Azar said about you? It's just you enjoy creating. Some people enjoy doing that by this. You know, by the way, these people, not only women, even men, they enjoy doing so. And sometimes you don't do it in that frank way. Sometimes I come to you, you know, Azar, you know, Abu Hamza, he doesn't keep his promises. He calls me this and that. And you say, you are right. It happens to me as well. He's always doing. This is a type of namima as well. Because you are fooling the fire. You are adding fuel to the fire. So this is also types of namima. So this is why the first one was being punished. Because he does this practice. Ghiba is to talk on the back. Not necessarily you are provoking somebody to hate somebody. You are talking about somebody on his back. This is backbiting. But namima is to the type of what you are telling the person is to create animosity. Is to have him hate the other person. Or to fight, or to see them fighting, something like this. So this is the first guy. The second guy, why he was being punished is, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, because he doesn't clean after himself, after he uses bathroom. See how serious it is? And many of our young brothers don't clean after themselves. They use their bathroom just when they are in school, when they are this. So it is serious. It is serious. So you have to clean after yourself. Yes. Yeah. If you have water, use water, and then tissue just to dry it out. That is because water, nothing cleans like water. Okay? But if you don't have water or you have limited water, then you can use tissue first, and then the remaining clean it with water. You can manage. But water should be sufficient and should be enough. And there is nothing better than water. Yes. Comes back to your, yeah. Yeah, no, that's exception, as you said. Yeah. Yes. That's true. That's true. So yeah, you have to be reasonable and don't be too obsessed by using water. You can, especially in occasions like this. This is maybe good, as Brother Abu Hamza suggested. You can use tissue and then use a little bit of water to clean after that. But in any case, don't make a mass. Don't make the toilet of the airplane mass. Yes. Yes, this is harmful, as a matter of fact. This is harmful. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when he saw a Bedouin urinating in the masjid, and Sahaba jumped on him to stop him. He said, لا تزرموه. What does it mean, لا تزرموه? Don't cut him off like this, because if he just cut it like this, it is harmful. Oh, this is, I thought you said when you cut it. Okay. No, in this case, you are just getting the drops that are inside out. This is what you are doing. Don't be obsessed. Just do it the easy way. As what matters is, as you leave bathroom, you don't have drops in your underwear. You know, if you know that happens, because if it happens, you learn. If it happens once and twice, just wait next time. Just wait maybe few seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds more, until these drops get out. Yeah. Yes. It gets more. Yeah. So if this is the case, then provoke it before you leave. Do it. Wait. So get it out, get this second reflex, and then go. Yeah. Yeah. If it happens, now let's differentiate between two things. He's talking about another question that is important. When you cough, sometimes it causes you to release some drops of urination. Let's differentiate between two things: normal conditions and abnormal conditions. In the normal conditions, this is still najasa and you have to clean it, because this happens once a while and can be controlled. Okay? For example, I used bathroom, and after I left, I coughed, and then it caused me to, maybe once a while it happens to me. So that breaks the wudu. What happens? I go back, clean the underwear, clean the private part, make wudu again. But if it is permanent issue, okay, then as I said, difficulty brings ease. This is the rule. If it becomes an issue that is permanent, that is tough to deal with, then the ease of Sharia that I just explained before. Yes. Oh my God. Wow. No, this is not right. This is not right. Yeah. Yeah, Alhamdulillah. Otherwise, these stones will be used in different ways. When somebody gets mad, we would get this stone. See? And this will not affect their izar, these drops will not. Yeah, and this is why when it becomes serious, then it is overlooked. as we said, and this is a Hanafi school and Maliki school because Sharia of ease, when it comes like this, when you're getting older, or this is fine. But as long as you are under control, you don't have to walk to their place. As long as you wait enough to clean yourself, inshallah, that will be good. And as I said, don't be obsessed. Yani don't go beyond the norm. Okay? Uh, and don't use the right hand when you clean yourself. And when you enter the bathroom, you enter with the left foot, and when you leave with the right foot. Inshallah ta'ala, that is enough. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, this is important. I didn't cover this because unless if you are not home, but if you are camping or are traveling, Nabi Sallallahu prohibited us to release ourselves in the way walk path where people walk, or in the trees, or in the shade where people sit, or in the next to water where people drink or animals drink. So you have to pick a place that neither harmful for human beings nor to other animals. So pick the proper place that is isolated, uh, uh, down to earth, which means that you can bury your thing after after you finish, and so on and so forth. This is a good point. Yes, Allah. Yes, you don't urinate in running water or a river. Yes, it's not next to it, because people usually use this water for swimming or drinking or animals. So you are spoiling the water for them. It is not acceptable. Yes. Yes. It's true. Yeah. Actually, this is an important point. As a matter of fact, this is different from our discussion. The discussion is more of fiqh discussion. It's about rules. But this is a valid point. And this is shows how Islam is a comprehensive religion that looks at life in the most perfect way. Basically, because the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah said in the Quran, أَلَا يَعْلَمُ مَنْ خَلَقَ وَهُوَ اللَّطِيفُ الْخَبِيرُ. Doesn't He know what He has created? You are His creation, and no one knows what works for you, what is good for you, what suits you better than your Creator. And if you look deep at the law and the regulations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all aspects, in marriage, in gender relations, in politics, in aqidah, in faith, in money, in business, in finance, you will find a deep wisdom and the divine wisdom that there is a purpose for that. There is a purpose for that. And what the brother mentioned about this entity of the family is being destroyed, is being threatened because of modern trends that are threatening just the very, very foundation of our existence. Now, this same gender marriage, it's just ugly even to alter and think of, but this is a society. And it's very dangerous. And we have to fight these ideas and trends out of love for this society and for humanity, because we care for them. Maybe they are not aware of the consequences, but it's our role to educate. It's our role to educate, and it's coming to our communities, unfortunately. It is coming, it is coming. And next week, not next week, the week after, 25th and 6th and 7th of June, inshallah, we'll be having a course by Shaykh Yasir Fahmi about these modern trends, among them LGBTQ and liberalism and atheism. And so please try to be there. It's an intensive course, weekend, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, and it will be, inshallah, very fruitful course. So we'll cover this aspect. Let me answer the questions. What is the rule for someone who doesn't take ghusl until around 6 or 7 or 8 a.m. on a Ramadan day? You are sinful. Why? Why? You didn't pray Fajr on time, not because of the ghusl. Not the fact that you didn't take ghusl does not break the fast. For example, now let's say today is a day of Ramadan. Fajr time today is 3:30. The time, actual time of Fajr comes. I slept until 4:15 because the time ends by 4:45, let's say. Enters 3:30 and ends by 4:45. Let's say I woke up 4:15 and I'm fasting day of Ramadan and I'm state of Janaba. Does that break my fast? No. And I will be taking shower after the day of Ramadan started, and then I will pray and we will pray Fajr on time. That is absolutely good, fine. But if you delay Salat time until the time is over, now you are sinful, and a major sin, because you didn't pray Fajr on time. Is that clear? Now, shaving the beard is a sin, but if you keep it some time and then shave it, is that means kufr? No, there is no kufr. This is we are not in the area of kufr, and this is rules. This is halal or haram, sins or not sins, at the worst case scenario. But we are not talking about kufr here. Kufr is to do something that takes you out of the religion. When it comes to this issue, it's not the issues of kufr. Kufr is when you disbelieve in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Kufr when you reject one of the articles of faith, like angels or prophets or the books of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Kufr when you reject salat. But when you shave the lihya, even if it is sin, but it's not kufr. Yeah. For removal around, he's asking is for the removal around the anus. Is this by a text, a report, or this is by analysis, ijtihad of ulama? It's both. It's both, because the pubic hair, it's not necessarily around this circle area. It goes beyond that. It's in Sharia, halq al-ana, it's the hair that grows around private part and cause the najasa to accumulate around. So this is what the definition of this hair. So it's not only about the penis, it's also around the anus. Is that clear? Because when you poop and you have a lot of hair, then the najasa will accumulate around. This is ugly. So you have to shave it. Yes. Is kafara for breaking the fast required only for having sex in Ramadan, or also breaking the fast by eating or drinking? There is a difference among ulama. Imam Malik rahimahullah believes that any type of breaking the fast, we apply the same type of kafara, even when you eat, when you drink. This is Imam Malik opinion. However, the majority of the ulama, which is Abu Hanifa, Shafi'i, and Ahmad, these three schools, they believe that this particular kafara, which is freeing slave, if you cannot, then fasting 60 consecutive days, if you cannot, then feeding 60 poor. This is only when you break the fast by sexual desire, whether intercourse or self-stimulation or watching porn or something like this. Because it's sexual, you broke the fast by sexual desire. But breaking the fast in other way, it is crime, major sin, according to these ulama, and all what you are required to do is make tawbah and make up that day. This is the ulama differences. So we have Abu Hanifa, Shafi'i, and Imam Ahmad. This is opinion Imam Malik. I believe Imam Malik in this regard has stronger argument. Because when you broke the sanctity of Ramadan in any way, eating or drinking, then you have to do this. But again, there is a different opinion here, and there is a room for difference. How to control ihtilam, what dream remaining, wet dream is not necessarily something bad, unless if this wet dream comes as a result of watching this type of videos and clips. Then when you go to sleep, you see these videos and clips. If this is the case, that is something bad. But if you go to sleep and you have a wet dream, it's not something bad you have to fight and control. This is biological phenomenon, and it happens for a reason, to release the body. So keep your body alone. Don't interfere. Don't think something is ma'asiyah and you do dhikr. Of course you do dhikr, but as I said, if this is happening naturally, it's not something you need to control, you need to be worried about. It's normal. Even if you see something in your dream and will cause to discharge sperm, if it happens naturally, not by watching certain things, because dreams sometimes as a result of what we see in our real lives. If this is how it's happening, then it is problematic. But if it's happening naturally, then just no problem, inshallah ta'ala. But of course, if you increase the dhikr, you will watch, or you will see in your dreams good dreams, inshallah ta'ala. He's asking about khitan, circumcision for women, and if it is fard to have it done when we have newborn daughter. No, this is only for man. Yes. It depends the culture. It depends there is a big debate about women having khitan, but it is not this norm, it is not the standard, it is not the culture, and unless if it is culture and custom in certain tribes and it has to be safe medically, then it shouldn't be done. If one has no sexual intercourse, he's asking if somebody has sexual has no sexual intercourse, but he has some thoughts, and shaitan brings to his mind certain thoughts and scenes or images. So can the person help himself by his hand to block such thoughts? The intention is not for pleasure, but to concentrate in prayer and removing sexual thoughts. Where is your ears? Here is it. I don't mean to be rude to the brother. He has a good point. But what I mean, even when you do it for let me give you another example. Now, I don't eat because I enjoy the food. I eat to stay alive. At the end of the day, you are eating. What matters? So if you don't do it because of sexual desire, but you do it to concentrate in salat, but what keeps you not to concentrate in salat? Because you are busy with these scenes and images. So it is a sexual drive, right? Isn't it? And we go back to the same qaida or principle that we stated at the beginning. So if there is a need to help yourself by your hand, as we said, it's not something noble, it's not something that should be encouraged, but it is not something haram according to the position we have chosen. So if this is the case, if it helps you to concentrate in salat, otherwise you keep having these thoughts in your prayer, I don't think this is the proper treatment. As a matter of fact, this will make you worse and worse situation. But I cannot say it is haram for you to do it. But the proper treatment is to know how to concentrate in salat by knowing about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by having that ta'zeem and ijlal, by not watching these videos and clips that bring such images to your mind. So this is the proper treatment, because the more you dive into this ocean, the more you are going to, yeah. So it's not something, you know, some people, when they get addicted to drugs, they think by taking the drugs they are controlling that addiction. As a matter of fact, you are making it worse. The more you take, you are making it better, you are making it worse. You will demand more with the time. Tomorrow, what satisfied you today will not satisfy you tomorrow. What satisfies you tomorrow will not satisfy you next week. And you keep doing. So the proper treatment is to be strong, to know that is wrong and work around that. Yeah. Yes. Really? In public schools they say, Subhanallah. Really? The psyche is harmful for the psyche. Yeah, I think this is, again, you know, please don't quote me wrong. I did not say haram. As long as you don't watch with it pornography, these type of clips and images, I said it's makruh. But I will never encourage it, because it's very harmful for the psyche, for the body, for your future relationship with your partner, with your spouse. It's very harmful. And you should, even if you have to do it as less as you can. Yes, Brother Zahid. Mm. 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 Yeah. Subhanallah. Yeah. 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 Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And you don't live the real life. You don't enjoy the. Yes. Yeah. And we have to be smart. Yes, brother. And it is not real in life. You cannot get it in life. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. I think this is very profound point. One of the driving force for this deviation in this society, why they are trying even sex with animals. It's just unbelievable. Sometimes you wonder why these people are going this way. Because the normal way, it's not attracting anymore. They are not finding that high level of pleasure. So they try things that in the person who has normal mindset, unbelievable. But for them, this is how the deviation starts. And this one you deviate from the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even your desires, your pleasure get destroyed. Subhanallah. Anymore. Subhanallah. You try new things. You try new things. And this is why people now, I'm sorry to also, it is very, certain topics I find hard time even to alter them. This is why people now are trying what they call it aqarib, jins al-aqarib, the sex within the family. What they call it? Incest. Yani sometimes Why? They have all these options in the haram way. They have maybe 100 girlfriends, but they do it with stepmother, stepsister, step this. Why? Because this is how they find that high level of pleasure. It's a disease, it's corrupt. So this is why it starts from little things. And if you don't stop it there, like this self-stimulation, step after step. And this is the strategy of Shaitan. Shaitan is not stupid. He will not come to Brother Adfar, who is very religious, normal, not corrupt-minded. We tell him, have sex with your something like with animal, with a cow. What? But he will come. This is something not too bad, self-stimulation, and then something little bit more, until you reach a point where you have no, huh? Yeah, go ahead, brother. Yeah, and we have this, mashallah, this knowledge should be, this awareness and education should start early in our kids. We should not wait until they are corrupted, and then it's too late to save them. Now, salam. Yeah. It's power. Yeah. 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 Alhamdulillah. Just yeah. To how we use bathroom, to how everything. Yeah. 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 And now there are many school districts, they are including June Pride Month. This is what I call it, right? Pride Month. In first grade, I went to Niskiuna last week. I had some programs with the school and to other school districts. First grade, can you believe? First grade, 5, 6 years old. They are teaching them about this ugliness and about this garbage. 5 years old. Look how early they start. And we as parents, we feel shy to talk to our kids about these issues. Yeah. Yeah. This is something wrong. Yeah. Yeah. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Yeah. And inshallah next in the course that is coming with Sheikh Yasser Fahmi in 2 weeks, part of the plan inshallah is how to talk to our kids about this issue, LGBTQ, what is the proper argument we use, what is the language that we use given where we live. And let me give the chance to Omar. He didn't speak. Yes, Omar, what was it? Yes. This is we are concluding. Just you get the barakah of al-khatm. This is the last question. You can see we are getting the barakah of, we are living, everybody is living. And this is part of their strategy, LGBTQ, to relate to relate their cause with racism, with social justice. So now it's a package. If you'd like to stand with minorities, if you'd like to stand with social justice, then you have to stand for LGBTQ rights. And they succeeded so far. In any case, we have to, I'm sorry, I can't take your question, inshallah ta'ala, after this, but I have to conclude. I thank you all for being patient and coming, and I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this course beneficial for everybody. And again, as youth, I would like you to be messengers for others and teach them about these issues and open their minds and awareness to the proper talk and the proper language when we discuss these issues. And as adults, we have also responsibility to our kids or our students or our family members. جزاكم الله خير. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.